So it's lunchtime, and I thought that I would give you a lunchtime lesson. A little something I felt that I needed to share today because of this isolation thing is really getting to us. I mean, we've been in it long enough now, haven't we? I mean, when you think about where we are right now, our kids should be in school. Sporting events should be kicking off. Kids should be in track. Baseball practice should have started. Things should be happening. Dine-in restaurants should be available. Graduation plans should be just about completed by now. That's what we ought to be doing. But here we are, waiting. Many are waiting in fear. And so I felt it necessary to share perhaps one of my favorite verses found in Psalm 46 and verse 10, where the psalmist tells us in two words. He says, "Be still." Be still. Now, today's culture teaches us just the opposite, and we've bought into that teaching. They teach us that if we're not busy, then we must be lazy. And maybe it's not to that extreme, but the truth is most of us have something on our calendar almost every single day of the week. We have something to do all the time. So during this time of isolation, during this time, you may find yourself saying, "I am bored." And the thought of being still just feels like a waste of time. What we don't realize is that we were created to be still. When you look in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. 6 days he worked, and then on the seventh, he was still, right? He rested. Jesus oftentimes told his disciples to get away to a quiet place and rest. In other words, be still. And then Jesus, it says of him that he went to a desolate place oftentimes to pray. In other words, he got away and was still. The psalmist tells us to be still. And since we don't like that, I don't like that, why don't we consider something a little bit different, like maybe let's pause with a purpose. The text tells us to pause. And the reason for the pause is to know that I am God. It's not to know God, but to know that I am God. It's to pause and reflect and realize that God is who he claims to be. And the only way for us to do that is not in the busyness of running from here to there, but it is in the stillness that we learn whom God really is. But stillness, we don't like it. We never have. I mean, from the very beginning, people have been running from God since Adam and Eve. They've been running, avoiding, and staying busy. But I want you to listen to James. James tells us in chapter 4, starting at verse 13. "Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we'll go to this city or that city." So you got two people who are making plans for the future. They're going to carry on a year. They're going to do business, and they're going to make money. So they're making some good plans, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. But then James says, you don't even know what will happen tomorrow. Your life is a mist that appears for a little while, and then it vanishes. Other translations say that life is a vapor. It's here one moment and gone the next. So that's never more real than right now, isn't it? Life is here a moment, and then it's gone. Now, I don't believe that God created this virus. I truly don't believe that God created this virus. But I do believe that God allows things to happen. And I think that he allows them to happen for a reason, for a purpose. I think that God could have prevented it, but he didn't. Instead, he's allowed it to happen. And he's also allowed it to spread further than what anyone ever imagined. But according to the Bible, this is what we need to get back to. According to the Bible, God causes all things to work together for good. He takes the good, he takes the bad, he blends them together, and something great comes out of it. So, for the last couple months, everything has stopped. No work, no school, no games, no practice, no sports, no graduation, no restaurants, no nothing. We've went from full throttle to pause, and it's driving us crazy. But I want you to listen to James again. A few verses earlier, he says in verse 5, that the Spirit that He caused to live in us yearns jealously, intensely desires to commune, is what that means. That God, the creator of the universe, who, when He created you, He put a spirit in you, He put a spirit in me, He longs to commune with that spirit. And this word yearns means to long for intensely. And so we've just got to pause and we've got to think that this race that we run, it's now on pause. And I can't help but to think that it's on pause for a purpose. And that maybe this isolation that we're experiencing has a purpose. And that purpose is to connect with God. God can use this momentary pause for good. The psalmist said, "Be still and know that I am God." Don't miss it. Don't waste it. Be still and know that God is God. Pause with a purpose. It's not going to be forever. We're going to be opening things up soon. And life will return back to a somewhat new normal. And it's going to be good. But in the meantime, know that God is God. Be still and embrace it.